Hi, my name is Tina and I'm a garden educator with the NYU Wallerstein Collaborative for Urban Environmental Education.
And my name is Bethany and I am also a garden educator with NYU, and today we are at Lentol Garden. Lentol Garden is located in Brooklyn, New York, in a community named Greenpoint. And Greenpoint has continuously been impacted by environmental issues. There's multiple Superfund sites that are within Greenpoint, including an oil spill that happened on Newtown Creek. And so in Lentol Garden, this space is a really awesome green space that the public can get involved in and see the environment working in a really great way. So instead of all of the impacts that have happened to this community, here we're doing something really great. A lot of the funding that comes into Lentol Garden is actually from the oil spill from ExxonMobil, and it has helped them remediate the impacts that they've had on the community, and they have given us funds to make improvements to this space. Lentol Garden was once property that was owned by the Department of Transportation, and it was pretty much a dumping ground for them to put cones and road debris, anything else that they had nowhere else to put. And then at some point it was transitioned to parkland, and when it was transitioned to parkland, it was taken over as a community garden. And that community garden was a part of the Green Thumb community gardens that are the same as those all around New York City. And to this day, this garden is still considered to be a Green Thumb community garden. And a portion of the garden is taken care of by community members. They have their own plots. And then another portion of the garden, where we just came from, is managed by NYU and any special projects that we have going on at the time. So NYU currently is wrapping up a project that was funded by EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, Region 2. And this project was called Bees Alive. And it was an environmental education project. Got a stick on my foot. It was an environmental education project for the Greenpoint community that focused on educating students in schools, teachers, as well as community members in a variety of ways. And it's been a 3-year-long project that also included installing a native plant habitat on the other side of Lentol Garden, just to support our pollinators in our neighborhood and in our community. Tina's going to tell you a little bit about the programming that we did for all of those lovely people that helped us out.
Yeah, so as part of that grant project, we worked with a lot of students in public schools throughout Greenpoint and throughout parts of Brooklyn who would come here on field trips. And then the past year we had some of those students come by as an after-school program where we would lead them through an environmental education activity focused on native plants and pollinators and help teach them about the nature within their own community. And then we would have them do stewardship, where they would help us with planting some new plants in the garden. They would help us weed and take out invasive species, and they would also just help us make sure that the garden was a great place for them to come and to spend time there. Throughout the past 3 years of this project, we've had over 300 community volunteers come through and help us make our side of Lentol Garden what it is today and create a beautiful pollination habitat. So we had an event called Meet the Scientists, where we had a bee expert come and other local community scientists, and it helped reach a lot of direct community members here who live closer to the garden. And they were able to come here instead of going to like a larger park, and they wanted to, it was more accessible for them in a space that is right by their house.
Those events are a really great way to kind of bring experts into a smaller pocket park, or just a local environment, instead of sending people all the way to a botanic garden or to a museum to get these same skills and knowledge. And the Meet the Scientist events not only touched on honeybee knowledge and their role in native pollinators, but it also touched a lot on, we did some bird walks in this area too, which brought in a whole nother part of the community. And the bird walks really helped people connect to this local park because they may have done bird walks in other local parks. But bringing in an actual conservation biologist helped to connect science with our community members and help them learn something new.
Every Sunday we try to host volunteer mornings over here at Lentol Garden, which helps bring people in who might just have a few hours to spare every week. It's always drop-in, so we message all these people a few days before that we have on our text message list and let them know that we'll be here, and anyone who walks by the garden during that time is also usually welcome to come in while Bethany and I are here if there's other community members around.
Lentol Garden has been a really great way to just naturally bring environmental education to this community. A lot of the kids in these neighborhoods, because of the environmental history of the Greenpoint neighborhood, have experienced environmental education in their own schools. But Lentol Garden is a way for them to kind of see it hands-on right in their neighborhood instead of learning about it in a classroom. And so it's been a really great way for us to connect with the community members, young and old, and really bring them into their neighborhood parks and sort of develop an ownership for it. Once our project is done with our habitat, then the community members will hopefully get to take care of it and want to take care of it, and allow it to be a lifelong part of their neighborhood.
And as Bethany mentioned, with working with youth in this garden, it's been very interesting for us as educators to see how much they do really know already about native plants and invasive species based on growing up within Greenpoint. And so expanding on that knowledge, we've heard from parents and from students themselves that they've loved being able to come here and have had that everlasting effect already instilled in them even at the age of elementary school. So bringing community members into a space like this helps remind them that you can make impact in your local area, and that can be more significant to them than trying to think of the big picture. But even small impacts have a great change against climate change.
Yeah, it has been amazing to see the way that community members take ownership in their space. And the community members that come in may have grown up in New York City and never had the opportunity to get their hands in the dirt, or they may have grown up gardening in rural parts of this country or even the world. And so bringing them together here to see how they can have a connection to the land and have an impact in their own community that has an impact on our populations of pollinators across the world is really amazing to see.